on your own dime, you do it on your own dollar, and you do it knowing the risk. Most makers will not take that commission from you. Most of them who are worth their salt will tell you, I'm sorry, this is a copyrighted character, I cannot do this. Now, there is such a thing as derivative works, and if you change enough of the character details, you can get away with it. Santa Fox's Stitch is different enough that he could probably get away with it in a court of law. He'll get a slap on the wrist and Disney will tell him not to do it again. Don't fall into that trap. You don't want somebody like Disney or Warner Brothers handing you a cease and desist letter. Granted, in a convention like this, it's considered a private event. It's not being used for public. You know, it's not being put on display. You're not actively representing the company. When you start doing that, you seriously start getting into trouble and that kind of stuff. We'll get you a cease and desist letter followed by papers. You don't want that cop showing up at your door. So, yeah. You like something well enough, you know, and if it's or say you like, okay, like Adam 1 is a perfect example, his Citras. Anybody has seen Cosyco? The little orange Citra, about this tall, his fursuit, adorable thing. He actually did the right thing. He went to Adam and he asked, I love the Citras, can I build a fursuit? Adam told him yes. A lot of artists are like that. You know, if you ask us before you do it, we'll tell you, hey, you know what, that's a really cool idea, I'm flattered. Especially if, you know, hey, you want a fursuit, why don't you, this is my kind of character, why don't you let me design it for you? That way the artist gets a little business out of it. And then you have this walking creation out there that's basically a walking advertisement for you, which is good. You know, it gets Adam a lot of attention. Ask first. Ask your artist. Most of us are really willing to work with you. We would much rather work with you on the front end than have to turn around on the back end and find out how you did it and then start making demands. We don't want to do that. That's a big pain in the butt. Most of us don't have time to deal with that. So,
Patience.
yeah, time or the patience or money. But, you know, you make us mad enough. You don't ever want to get an artist mad at you. You'd be surprised how much nasty things drawn will show up on Fark or 4chan or something awful. You don't want to take an artist off. Very, very, very bad. That's about all I got, folks. Unless nobody else has any more questions and I need to touch on anything. I hope I covered enough that gives you an idea about what to start looking at in the future and what you need to plan in your designs and when you're actually talking to an artist.
Are most of the faces, I know they do the foam underlay, but are most of them just glued on?
No.
Or sewn?
No, yeah, most of them are sewn.
Okay.
I know, I keep track of the fursuit, LJ, and I see the newbies that come in. And there was one girl on there the other day saying that, you know, so you don't need a sewing machine, right? We're just gonna glue all the seams down. No. One, you leave that thing in a hot car, it's gonna melt that hot glue. Two, hot glue seams look terrible. It's gonna show.
Not always.
I've seen some of Josepher's early work before he sewed and before he started, you know, doing it really, really well. The glued seams look terrible. They may not look terrible at first. After about 2 wears, it's gonna start showing. They're gonna start coming loose in places. The fur gets all gunky. It gets all rock hard. It gets nasty. That right there.
There is one other thing about the hot glue, because mine's hot glued. I'm going to have to take it apart and sew it together by hand. But the other thing, not only does it not look good, sometimes it's just not comfortable.
Yeah,
because you got
it
those
gets pokey.
hard seams. Well, they're
gets
not.
pokey.
I don't know how he did it, but he got it nice and smooth. It's not pokey, but it's like wearing a suit of plastic.
It doesn't bend well.
It's like wearing a suit of
you didn't
armor.
actually happen to have one of the bodies that was just glued to like clothing, did you? Yeah.
I have a Magnus suit. Yes.
I heard about that one. We fursuit makers talk to each other. We hear about this kind of stuff. Yeah, we heard about that one, and we all thought, is he crazy? Because you can't wash that. It's not going to fold. It's not going to bend well, and you can't wash it. Once you do wash it, you start breaking down the glue. Hot glue is fantastic, but it's not permanent. If you actually have to use a glue for anything in fursuiting, do yourself a favor and either get contact cement, which puppeteers use because it bonds very quickly, very strongly, and stays flexible, or use a silicone base. Again, you cannot touch either of them with your skin because they're poisonous. You have to use gloves and be well aerated because the fumes are poisonous as well, but good stuff is always poisonous. But they stay flexible once they dry, and they're a lot stronger to use. This is becoming a fursuit building panel, not a fursuit designing panel. So, yeah. Yeah, take it apart and resew it or have it sewn.
Can you flip the first few pages? I missed the first like 2 or 3 when you were first coming in.
Sure.
'Cause
Not much, we're just trying to figure out how characters looked and what kind of career were we gonna do and how to support things and like mostly tails. Tails are like tails and wings. Have to support those. The difference in facial features going from, you know, happy pox to meat pox, big bellies, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Help you?